Jesus, it's so hot around here. 36 degrees. Abysmal. Swatch collaborations have been one of the most interesting things that have happened to the industry in quite a while, especially because there's so many controversial things surrounding it. These are bioceramic watches with a fun Swatch twist on them that had a great start, and with each new collaboration it gets more and more tricky. Every time they make a collaboration, we know it will liven up the whole industry from all different angles, and it relentlessly sparks the conversation. Is it a good product? Is it a marketing campaign? Or an industry-defining change? It's definitely safe to say that Swatch has been doing a service to the business and the industry by both boosting up the sales numbers and bringing more people to the hobby. However, I think that their best product and their best idea was still the Moonswatch. I have here a Mission to Earth Desert. It's a 42mm in diameter, is powered by an ETA movement, and has a Hasselite crystal. After 6 months of occasional wear and a month of constant wear, it leaves me with so many conflicting feelings. And here I would like to make a distinction. As a product, Moonswatch leaves a lot of room for desire. You're afraid that the watch will break, even though it is a material that is supposed to be much more durable than normal plastic. However, we've seen people complaining about pushes falling off. You can see the dents in it much clearer than on steel, and you can't get rid of that feeling of overprotection in a way, since in the back of your head you will always remember that this is not a stainless steel watch. The strap itself is also not hitting the mark, as wearing a massive Moonswatch logo doesn't exactly help it much, and it's just not exactly very comfortable to wear in general. However, despite all of that, it is a great watch. It's based off a Moonwatch and adds this incredibly fun twist to these different planets, which creates this inherently Swatch feeling to it. It's not serious, it's not supposed to be serious, hence it's just pure fun. And it is fun looking at the watch, it is fun knowing that you have that watch. It's just not that much fun to wear it. Now, I know that everybody has already said that the Moonswatch is just a plastic toy out of a box of cereal, but maybe it was never supposed to be a good product. You see, the brilliance of the Moonswatch was that it wasn't about the product itself, it was the brilliant quirk introduced so characteristic of Swatch that made us like it. An affordable Moonswatch with a fun twist that made it a great collector's piece. For us, for the collectors, but for people who are merely starting in the hobby, this is just plain brilliant and quite genius. You give people a quirky Moonwatch and say, go on, dip your toes. Give watches a shot. You don't need to jump into the wormhole of choosing a watch for yourself. Here is a very well-known model, done way cheaper so you can just have a test drive. That's why it was so healthy for both the industry and the business, because Moonswatch was extremely good at sparking interest in the hobby. However, here comes my point that I made earlier, that only Moonswatch in my eyes feels like the greatest of their ideas, because after that we had two more releases, Blancpain 50 Fathoms and Royal Pop. Now, 50 Fathoms is something you would expect to be done only for the collectors, and it does feel like it because, for example, they decided to keep it mechanical and put their System 51 movement, and therefore honoured the Blancpain's tradition of never making a quartz watch. However, you couldn't service it as it is basically all welded together, and Swatch can only replace the whole movement in case there's something wrong with it. And neither does 50 Fathoms seem to be something that generally speaks to most of the collectors. I don't want to say that 50 Fathoms is a relic of the past, definitely not. But from the entire watch community, which includes both hardcore and less hardcore fans, I wouldn't expect this specific model to speak to everyone. If I was to make a comparison, it's like playing vanilla Warcraft hardcore. There's definitely an audience for it. However, it just seems that it is a little bit too narrow. And on top of that, it's still bioceramic, just like everyone complained with the previous collab, and the price is still a little hefty for a legacy piece. And that brings us to the Royal Pop, which in my eyes has been one of the most curious cases of marketing genius, because inevitably it does suffer from the same problem when it comes to the product itself. Nobody specifically needs a transformer pocket watch because you don't see people wearing them too much. As much as it is a fun iteration on the Royal Oak model, it is clear as day that everybody will want to turn it into a wristwatch instead. So it was obvious that companies, for example, like Deluxe, are going to be making those specific case strap modifications, hence turning it into a wristwatch, which is essentially not a bad thing per se. But it almost feels like it was done on purpose. It's almost like Swatch this time decided to go down the same route that Rolex takes whenever they need marketing to be done for them. This Royal Pop seems to be scratching everybody's itch. You can turn it into a less pricey Royal Oak, you can have it as a pocket watch, and you definitely do boost everyone's interest in the industry. But even though it seems to be checking all of those marketing boxes, maybe we've just expected a little bit more, or maybe something different from the product. I'm still excited to see what Swatch has for us in store for their next collaborations. However, I do hope that marketing won't prevail next time. Right. Thank you everyone for hanging out with me. See you next time. Cheers.